so fast. Slow your roll down, baby. They say that you my little girl. She ain't no cruiser like I am. Well, you know she ain't the one. You got to ride for a ride. Now why you wanna do it, daddy? If it was me, how could you help me? Oh, baby, please, please, please. How did you get me down here on my knees? Well, you know she ain't the one. You got to ride for a ride. You know my heart's all out of room. You wanna love that little girl. By all means, honey, do. Well, you know she ain't the one. He said, now let me tell you how. Buy you new appliances. I wanna take you out. Better on my side. I wanna take you out. I wanna meet you here. I wanna take you home. Tell me where it is. I go back when I wanna. Don't you ask no question. Me and you forever, baby. You and me together, baby. I love you, baby. I wanna take you out and just get you. I wanna hear you love. It's like a heaven shell. I wanna hear you love, baby, baby. Be together. I wanna hear you love, baby, baby. Be together. I wanna be with you together, baby. You and me forever, baby.
Hello out there to all my fellow race fans, backseat drivers, sun-baked motor goers, anybody moving out there. Hello, thank you for joining us here on Backseat Broadcasting Week 3 here with the Lambos out at Phillip Island. Just wrapping up a little bit of the end of practice here. And then we're going to jump into that 10 minutes of solo qualifying. I do not have a copy of the points, but I will have them uploaded as we see Kevin Sandiego Bennett after turn 1. So let's take a quick peek over at those track temps, see what we're working with today. All right, nice and cool out on track. It's 70 degrees Fahrenheit, 64 air temp, 10-mile-an-hour gusts out here in Australia. I didn't know that. I had like guaranteed this was like some island off of like Connecticut that like really rich people went racing at or something like that. It was a private island, but no, Australia it is. Nice and cool on this morning time track time. Guys setting down 125s out there. That is the time we're looking at. Of course, we have that 10x race penalty because the admins wanted to let us all know how much fun they were at parties. So we have a 10x penalty that will get you a drive-through, and I do believe it's a limit of 15 will get you out of the race. maybe 16, maybe 17. You gotta be careful though. They're not messing around anymore, taking up too much of their time with this BS of racing incidents. Seeing them come around T9 there, that uphill where the camber goes away from you and you just crest the hill with so much speed coming down to T10. It's a tight right-hander. Then around the final T11, there you go. I guess there's probably 2 turns there considered to be 12 turns, and on to the back straight, or the only straight, the pit straight. Y'all know what I mean. Take a quick peek over at those practice times out there with 30 seconds left to go. Kevin San Diego, though, with a clear 0.3 of a second advantage in practice anyways, in these nice cool conditions. I don't expect things to heat up too much as we crest the 2-hour mark in practice. We're going to jump right into that 10-minute of solo qualifying in a moment. We might even get a light show in between sessions. We can only hope. Up, a little light show, slight light show, banner light show. He's giving us some flashes. Kevin San Diego, as always, very trusty to be right out on track. No fuel change needed, and of course, we are all deciding to go out the bottom exit there. It almost looks like that splitter's so far off the ground, and like he's just coasting, like he's got a lot of clearance there. Maybe it's just the way the shadow was casting on that front bumper. Very strange there. It's very wobbly out of the pit straight. Coming down to T4, this slowest turn on the track. It is my favorite location to murder people, so definitely look out for some action popping off right there. Finding the right gear to make it around these final turns, make it nice and wide for himself and get a good run out of there. It's very tight there. You gotta, if you want to keep your foot down, you really got to nail that final 2 turns perfectly. Let's ride on board. Oh heavens, it's a mighty loud in there. Coming through T1 where we saw him bin it at the very beginning of our stream there just a moment ago. Around T2, keeping it extra nice and tight. Not even a real late apex on that. He doesn't want to give it any give. Please don't pay any attention to Corey Mitchell's time as of yet. His pit stall is just before the start-finish line, I assume, and so it's a little bit confused. Only 2 minutes on the board thus far. Kevin looking pretty good here. Oh, and he's gonna lose it at T9 at the top of the hill, as you can see, as that camber and balance just gets away from you. He does brilliantly though to not spin it. He's going to try to dust these tires off real fast and give it another go real fast. Let's check in with some other folks down here. Looks like Russell navigating T10, or sorry, T10 there. All right, keeping it together. We're going to have some lap times popping up on the board in just a moment here. Russell is going to be one of them as he comes down the pit straight. He's in with a 127 flat. Steve Zirapo does a 126.3. that is getting closer to where we expect folks to go. Corey Mitchell does set a real lap of a 1:26.3, just barely pipping Steve. That is Donovan Smith in 4th place, followed by Kelly Greenhoe, Andre Garcia, and Sheldon Rosenbaum. Welcome, Sheldon. I don't know if you're a new member. I have not seen your name out there. Looks like a little bit off the pace, something probably going wrong in that lap there for Sheldon, though is still able to count it. Mark Bray slotting into 6th position. It looks like we had around 20 drivers in the lobby. A lot of household names here as Tom Jenkins comes across the line and takes that 6th place spot. Craig Tessiter kicking up a little dust out of there, out of T7. Kevin Sandiego still yet to put one on the board. Paul Slavonic into 7th, and then we see Russell Elizondo better his time, but get pushed down by Craig Ream there, and the times are coming across the board. Steve Zirapo actually up to 2nd place, and then Sheldon Rosenbaum sets the record straight and gets right up to 3rd position, followed by Corey Mitchell, Craig Ream, Russell Elizondo, Donovan Smith, and Matthew Morehart is now into 8th place. Craig Tessiter and Russell Elizondo are having off tracks at the moment. Their current laps are not going to count. And Russell retreating to the pits, as well as Craig going to have to start again with half of qualifying gone at the moment. Sheldon off those best times there. Kevin Sandiego, though, to the top of the times once he's able to put those laps in. 1:25.7 is the time to beat. But I don't even know if he or anyone else will do that. I'm not quite sure what he's doing here at the moment. Looked like he was setting up for another lap, maybe something in the car at the same time. Vincent Wood out on track, as is Brandon Bachman. I expect some decent laps from both of these drivers out there. Nothing having at the moment. Paul back up to 6th place with a 1:26.878. And then Craig Ream out of nowhere with a 1:26 flat, doing it. Steve has nothing to back up that first lap. Matthew Morehart taking over 6th, followed by Vincent Wood, who does set a lap time of 7th out there. David Sockrider into 12th. Richard Swindell has decided to grace us with his presence on the black tarmac surface. And he should have enough time to set a lap out there. Looks like he's halfway out a lap. Brandon Bachman saying some good sectors. I think, yeah, maybe that first sector could have been a little bit better for him. He's going to come across the line, though. Brandon is not good. Richard cresting T9 there. Getting ready for a lapless ride on board with Mr. Richard. Craig Ream has an off track. He and Kevin Sandiego back to the pits. Richard Swindell actually does complete a lap. It's a 1:33.1. That's not going to be very good. He's not going to be able to get off of the back of the grid, and especially not if he decides to park it or hit the wall there. Brandon Bachman still pushing for a lap time, though. 2 minutes remaining in the qualifying session. That first sector is looking a lot better this time. So is the second sector. This is going to be a decent lap for Brandon. 1 turn to go here. And it's going to get him on the board. It's going to be 14th place for him with a 127.396. I suspect he could probably get a little bit more out of that car, and I'm not certain he has enough time to beat his 127. He might. He might. Maybe just getting a little bit more practice out there. Andre Garcia coming around. Doesn't look like he's having his best lap out there. Brandon with 40 seconds to go. I think he might just be able to make it, maybe. Kevin Sandiego back out on track, messing around, finding out what that full tank of fuel really feels like. Russell Elizondo, legendary, downloading the SDK timing app. Brandon Bachman has 10 seconds to come across the line. Think he's gonna make it though, just barely, with 5 to spare. And that's gonna bump him right up to 9th place into the top 10 just in time. Way to go there, Brandon. Right at the death. Let's run down that grid real quick. That is, of course, Kevin Sandiego on pole position, followed by Craig Ream. Steve Zirapo is going to line up next to Sheldon Rosenbaum, followed by Corey Mitchell, Matthew Morehart, Vincent Wood, Paul Savanik, Brandon Bachman, and Russell Elizondo closes out the top 10. Donovan Smith is followed by Craig Tessiter, David Sockrider, Kelly Greenhoe, Tom Jenkins, Mark Bray, Andre Garcias, Richard Swindells, Jordan Johnson, and Brandon Piper down there in 20th. Hopefully the rest of these members decide to join us who did not join us for qualifying. Let's take a peek back out there onto track. Where are we? We are on the pit straight. We're going to get a full pace lap out here. 2.7-ish mile circuit, something like that. Again, thank you all for joining us. Make sure you hit that thumbs down button, even though I can't see the thumbs down anymore. Do it for the spirit. Make sure you unsubscribe, hit the bell an even number of times. And oh goodness, let's mess around with our timing tower a little bit so we can get what we want when we're gonna want it. Back to that track info, let's check it out. It is only up to 72 degrees out there. Wind's picked up a little bit, 14 miles an hour, which is a little bit more substantial. Of course, no idea what direction it's blowing in. Who knows? 65-degree air temp out there. This should be a really fun race to be in. All right, and we are ready to shove off here. Craig Ream decides, heck, I don't need to be here. I will promote Sheldon Rosenbaum and possibly his inaugural race. He was probably in last week's stream, and I'm just being a dick about it. But welcome, Sheldon. Welcome to the front row next to Kevin Sandiego. I don't know, looks like he's being a good sport about it and hanging out with Steve. Very interested on what gear people are using on these pace laps. If they're trying to conserve fuel, who's pulling in the clutch early? So, folks, it looks like the pace car is heading in. All eyes on Kevin San Diego, and it looks like we are going racing out there. As just behind him, there is just a conglomerate of vehicles. And Steve Zirapo storming right up to second place. Sheldon right behind him there. Really good fights all over the track there. That is a little bit too wide for my liking. Let's go back out to TV2. And Steve Zirapo really going to have to defend pretty hard. Sheldon was nice and early on the brakes there. Down the inside comes Vincent Wood on Corey Mitchell from a long way back. I think he took advantage of everybody having to brake a little bit early for that second place battle and just said thank you very much. Further back, oh, somebody's getting a little wide, maybe David Sockrider. Almost having some issues there. Everybody making it really clean though. Looks like no contact, no spinners out there. Richard Swindell starting from the pit lane, perhaps. But Kevin San Diego with a nice 1.1 second lead already, almost out of the draft anyways. Not a super long straight here, but a decent long one, and you're definitely up to speed when you get onto it as we come around the final turn now. Storming hopefully towards an equally entertaining, ballsy and clean second lap out there, as Vincent Wood is now under pressure from Corey Mitchell, whose spot he just took a moment ago. And just as I say that, looks like Paul Slavonic off track there. We're gonna check what happened, but this has just brought everyone together right down into this T6 braking zone here. And everybody being pretty cool about it. And figuring it out. That was David Sockrider picking up some positions there. Kelly Greenhoe up to into the top 10 already with 4 positions gained. Donovan Smith having a great race. He's up 5. Andre Garcia also likewise back there with 4 gained. It's right on the heels of Brandon Bachman coming down to T10. Really tricky braking zone. It looked like Mark Bray nearly was going to hit him in the rear there. Did a great job not to though. Paul Slavonic and Richard Swindell's jumping to the pits. This battle for that would be 4th position with Vincent Wood and Corey Mitchell going side by side down to T1. Corey Mitchell's going to take to the inside and have it easily. It's going to be a little bit offline, but he's going to be able to draft out wide, and he will live to fight in 4th now. Let's check out what happened. We're going to start paused once again. Was this the moment? Oh, it was. It was Paul Slavonic who was spinning it. And was that Brandon Bachman that hit him? No, he spun almost. Hard to say exactly who that was that hit him. It might have been, it couldn't have been Richard Swindell, since Donovan Smith has a little off track down there, coming out of possibly, T7, T8 area. Kelly Greenhoe was the car I think that might have tagged him on the way through. No, that might have been Matthew Morehard with that tag. Oh, and Kelly here is going to lose it out on the final 2 turns, and he's blocking the track sideways, just barely enough room for people to squeak by. What a camera that is. Oh, goodness. And Craig Tessiter taking it very, very slow indeed to not hit Kelly. And Craig doing his own little spin there, which is why he was also moving so slowly when he approached Kelly. But no rest for the wicked as Sheldon is keeping Steve Zirapo very, very honest out there. Staying within half a tenth. Kevin San Diego, as you can barely see in the foreground, whipping around, is 2.2 ahead of these guys. Again, probably another lonely race for him, but definitely get good at keeping his nerves in these Apex races. He's got to do wonders for the ego, all I have to say. It'd be nice to just be like, oh, yes, I'll win a race today. Oh, goodness, and looked like David Sockrider getting very out of shape, trying to get back over to the right and open up that final two corners. Unable to as these guys go side by side. Sheldon goes down the inside and gets second place there. Excuse me, as I just missed that. We're gonna get back to that in just a second. And here is the move. And you can almost hear Steve give that up a little bit early. Maybe just praying that Sheldon sends it a little bit too much. Oh, and Matthew Morehart has his spin out of T4 there. T6, I don't even remember anymore. I'm going to try. Matthew Morehart struggling to get that Lambo back onto the black stuff. He manages to do it. Let's take a look at a few things. We might have lost Kelly Greenhoe out of this race. He's going to have another incident here as he comes flying over the crest of T9. Oh, and he almost saves it. He goes deep into the grass. And that's going to be it for his race. Let's see what happened to Matthew here, coming down to the slow hairpin thingamabob. A very strange one. Maybe just a touch too fast going through there. Andre Garcia up 8 positions now. He's into 9th. Trying to make it one more as he approaches the back of Brandon Bachman, who's looking a little bit ragged out there in this defense. And Vincent Wood with an off track a little bit further up the road. And that's going to be a couple more positions. There's some freebies for you as Vincent Wood regains. It's a little bit better traction in the background there. All right, way to go, SDK, figuring it out. Lap 6 of this race, all sorts of stuff going on. I can't shut up. Oh, heavens. Nasty. And Tom Jenkins also takes a trip to the beach. He's going to regain it. Let's see, what are we looking at? Let's check out some of these incidents right here. That's Vincent Wood, is it, who came back on track? Oh, and Donovan just unable to grab hold of that car on the inside. And eventually Vincent just had to turn in. Thought he had done everything possible. Andre dropping off a little bit, maybe having a little moment there in the midst of all that chaos. They're pulling up to the back of David Sockrider. He's having a great race, up 7 positions at the moment. Bachman, who's pretty much the only one who's in a battle right there already. Feeling some traction issues on the accelerator. As we're approaching the 25% race distance. And honestly, not too much further up the road is Russell Elizondo. Got David Sockrider getting a little awkward out of those final turns. He's going to lose about 3/10 in that section as Brandon's able to close. And what timing for the onboard as we see, oh my gosh. Did he beach it? Oh, Brandon. Oh, it's a Jeep thing. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Brandon lives to fight another day. Stiffest chassis ever created. Definitely did tweak the hell out of that. Anyways, Mark Bray with his own, oh goodness, he's got to one-up him with some moves. I hope you pop right back off that. There's some exciting moves by some of our members here. We're gonna see the onboard from Marks. As I don't know, he's looking for a good spot to come back on track. He has found it. Let's see what it looked like coming out of here. Oh, they just get on that gravel on the outside, and woo, he was lucky not to turtle that thing. Wide center of gravity out there. And Steve Zierpo, back ahead. Back into second place. Let's check out that pass real quick. Is again that coming out of T8, I think that is. Very awkward there, but Sheldon gets back on track with some work to do. And he's definitely closed that gap up to less than a second there. And Corey Mitchell, who was in the background of that shot through this sector, falling back a little bit. Russell still sitting in fifth, followed by David Sockrider, Vincent Wood, Matthew Morehart, Donovan Smith, and Andre Garcia crushing it in the top 10. Oh, and Sheldon again coming into the final sector there, cutting across the pit lane, and he's going to knock himself down to fourth with that one. And he's really losing so much speed. You can just see the tenths falling off of Russell Elizondo's interval here. So he was about 6.5 seconds, and now he's under 4. And counting. David Sockrider is starting to catch up to the back of him, though. Andre Garcia smelling blood. And it's Donovan Smith's just ahead. He's got 4 tenths to make up on this straight. inside up to 9th place and 8 positions gained this race. Oops, I should probably take this live again, yeah. Because this fight would be a little bit closer, because, oh, I was about to say I want to respect all the work that Matthew Morehart had done to get on the back of Vincent. Oh, it is a bummer, but he doesn't have anything to worry about, as Andre is a good 11-ish seconds behind him. And, oh, but never mind, Vincent Wood decides to do the same Tokyo drift that everybody else wants to do at a T8. And was that just a matter of tires for him, or did he even get wide? He was already on the gas too much. Too much. So David Sockrider with a nearly 14-second pit stop out there seems perhaps a touch long, but we shall see as everybody else decides to come in. Vincent Wood deciding this is his moment. A whole mess of drivers never took the green flag with us. I wish they didn't show those guys at the bottom. C'est la vie. Vincent Wood doing a 13.1, okay. David Sockrider comes out of the pits just ahead of Mark Bray here. And almost halfway done, 20 minutes on the clock. We should see a few people deciding this might be their moment. Actually, nobody's really stuck in traffic. They're probably going to push as long as they can so that they do not do a David Sockrider and come back unless they have any sort of damage. And Craig Tessiter may have some damage as he has just crashed. So has trying to avoid him, Corey Mitchell is off track. Here comes Russell Elizondo. Corey pretty clean after that. Let's see what happened to Craig here. Oh, and that will send Corey Mitchell spinning. I thought he might have had some damage on that right side, and I was correct. And that is what sends him over there. And that was hitting a lapped car too, which is never fun. Coming out of T2. anywhere, for that matter. T0, never fun. Kevin's sitting pretty with a 6.5 second gap, so he's got, you know, a minor mistake in there, but he cannot make any major ones. Corey Mitchell is going to elect to use this moment to go into the pits. He's already dropped down to about 6th place, at least 4th place there on merit, as Russell did get through. Just under 13. Andre Garcia, after a killer race out there up to 7th, he's going to be dropping places. He's going to at least let Donovan Smith through. He did not beach himself, though. He gets his nerves together. He's going to find the black stuff and keep running. Brandon Bachman with the longest stop yet of a 14.3. Poor Andre now has Mark Bray breathing down his neck, so he'll have to deal with that. Corey Mitchell out of the pits in 10th position. That is at least going to put Sheldon Rosenbaum back into the podium positions, at least. I'm trying to find the silver lining. Whoa, and Andre with a wild pit entry. Oh, he's gonna back it in, it seems. But he gets it moving again right at the end down there. But he is good now, and he has found his pit box. San Diego comes down the pit straight to lap him with a 1:26.9. Pretty dang good for this point in the race. Sheldon comes booking it in there. Right on his marks with that. Andre, maybe, I don't know what's happening to him after such a good race, now spending a long time in the pits, maybe with a speeding penalty, I don't know, some sort of penalty for incorrect pit entry, some BS like that. Everybody loves BS like that as Vincent Wood goes pummeling into the Marshall stand fencing. I think that will be it probably for Vincent's race. Disappointing. And Matthew Morehard comes into the pits just ahead of him. Russell Elizondo in as well. Vincent Wood there. Let's check out what happened on board here. Oh, down into T1. Oh, and the rear end went left, he went right, and then he was well stuck in that Marshall stand. Kevin San Diego, Steve Zirapo, both into the pits now. Vincent Woods still sitting in the pits. Andre Garcia still in the pits. He has abandoned us. It's so sad. as he was just having such a killer race. Donovan Smith, who is the last car, it looks like, to stop. Maybe Craig Tessiter out there. Maybe Craig is also out of this race. He is, so Donovan is coming in now. And Kevin San Diego and Steve both with nice long stops, pushing 15 seconds. Sheldon with a long stop there. Oh, something going wrong. Like somebody's engine blowing as they had given up on this race and retired. Didn't turn off their cars. And David Sockrider currently running in 4th post pit stops. And he's got a good 8.5 seconds on Corey there, or now 8 seconds or so. Oh, and Brandon Bachman having a couple issues. Check out what's going on with him. Down to T4, he just spins. He's gonna keep it going. Let's see, he has another issue. The rear ends are not obeying them any longer. As he comes down hill to T10, it's very awkward if you don't, like, if you're not all over that apex coming downhill there. You really got to use that to turn it. It's Matthew Morehart right on the bumper of Russell coming downhill here. Swinging over to the right really helps that camber, really help you turn the car. And these are how many off tracks we've had thus far. And I don't think this does not count any taps or anything like that. It just counts the off tracks. So Russell, Steve Zierpo, and Kevin San Diego at least looking like they're having some clean races here, as Matthew's going to dive down to the inside and completely take over the apex and get out of there ASAP. So Russell did not fight that too hard. I think he knew that one was coming for a while. into the final 10 minutes here, and this war of attrition will continue as everybody, obviously, as you can see, we're down to our last remaining 11 drivers out of the 23 that joined the lobby. A very, very tricky track car combo here, and these tires have got to be screaming now, despite the track temp being favorable. I think that the throttle control with the rears has got to be on, so it's really just run your race and take care and make sure you don't make any major mistakes. There's like a 91% chance you'll finish in the top 10. Sorry, Tom. Rooting for you, buddy. Sheldon dreaming of what could have been had he taken over that front row spot. Maybe, maybe not. He's only a cool 24 seconds off of Kevin. Still going to get that podium though if he just holds it together for 8 minutes. We're on board with Matthew Morehart putting in a personal best of a 127 flat. Matthew having a pretty decent race, just keeping it consistent. He's in his grid position of 6th, as in Corey Mitchell, shuffled back to that spot of 5th after that tag. And that promoted David Sockrider up to 4th, who has progressed 9 positions in this race. Followed by Mark Bray, who's picked up 7. And Matthew really feeling like these tires are coming towards him. He's putting in personal best laps, now down to a 126.9. And just as I say that, the commentator's curse is going to send him off track with Russell Elizondo less than 10 seconds behind. But I don't think that's going to get him up there. It is going to put him less than 5 seconds behind, though. So that will definitely be something for the both of them to think about as they are in the final 5 minutes. Did anybody else happen to see that F1 marshal today? Who was fire marshal when Carlos Sainz's Ferrari caught on fire, and he was running over with the other guy. I'm sure he's doing something he was supposed to be doing, but I thought it was freaking hilarious when he was running with the other guy towards the car, and then he stops, sets down the fire extinguisher, and starts running back the other direction. I thought that was pretty funny. It probably also cost Ferrari about, I don't know, 500K in extra parts. Because, oh God, because the more things that fire burned, getting the energy packs and stuff like that, that's awfully sketchy. As Tom Jenkins, oh, the Tokyo Drift is real. Oh, there's all sorts of people off track, and Donovan Smith is in the wall. Is this the track? I mean, crash? I just see, no, this was Donovan spinning it earlier down at T6. Oh, this is another incident at T6. Not enjoying his time down there at all. And that's put Brandon Bachman right on his heels. To switch things up, here is Matthew Morhart. I don't think he's coming in for anything but the trip to the pits. Donovan Smith is also in. Matthew just having the drive-through there. And Brandon Bachman charging down the straight. It's going to be just under 3 seconds behind him. And I'm not exactly sure where the time was lost, but Kevin Sandiego now only 3 seconds in that very, very comfortable lead I was just referring to a moment ago. And Matthew Morhart has gone off track again. He is disqualified from the race with just over a minute to go. How crappy is that? Oh my gosh, Matthew. I am so sorry, man. That is such a bummer as you are out of this race. We just saw you do a drive-through. I'm not exactly sure what happened there. Really pushing it. Having a spin, that's a 2X. And then maybe that third one, I'm not exactly certain what happened, but it was most strange, to say the least. 10 drivers left. There you go, Tom Jenkins. I knew you. I kept the faith. And we're into the top 10. 10 drivers left in the race. Kevin Sandiego seemingly losing time at the end here, but we do only have 5 seconds to go. And so this is our final lap here. As Kevin Sandiego comes around T2. Steve Zierpo still gaining on him. but nothing major. I wonder if Kevin didn't fill up enough. No, they both had very long stops. Brandon Bachman has had a crash. Let's check out what happened to him. And that's Kevin Sandiego actually in the background. Let's see how these leaders fared on the final lap here. Kevin makes it by all right. Let's go back with them live now as we're about to finish this race. And up over T9. Tom Jenkins has had an incident as well. Russell Elizondo really close to making a move here. And oh, some fireworks right at the end. Who did he just... It was Tom Jenkins. Oh, Tom, I take it all back again. Oh, that was brutal. Brutal end to his race. And oh, heavens. Let's watch what was going on here. Here they come through turn 2. And Tom is coming right back on track and gets them both. I don't think Russell ended up losing any positions possibly because of it. Maybe, it's hard to tell. He manages to come home in a very respectable 6th position. And a good race. In 4th, here are your podium winners. Sheldon, that is a bummer, buddy. Please hang out for these podium pictures after the race. Any other members watching, make sure you always hang out with your podium. That was awfully awkward as Steve Zeropo finishes 1 second flat, pretty much behind Kevin Sandiego. What a finale there for you folks. Always good here on Backseat Broadcasting. Let's run down those race results real quick and see what's going on there. Ah, yes, the correct button. Are we still waiting for somebody to come across the line? And it's Senior Jenkins, who's looking a little Senior Janky here. Woo! That thing is all messed up. Let's look at the cockpit and see what sort of octopus he's wrangling inside this car. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Ooh, it's a lady. Y'all know Tim Meadows? That was one of the greatest characters of all time. It's the ladies' man. And wonderful. We're just about done with this race, and we're going to get some results up on my screen. Kevin Sandiego winning out there from pole to the finish. Steve Zeropo in 2nd place. Sheldon Rosenbaum rounds out the podium. This is not going to take long. David Sockrider in 4th. We have Corey Mitchell in 5th, followed by Russell Elizondo, Mark Bray, Brandon Bachman, Donovan Smith, and Tom Jenkins limping across the line after that last lap fiasco. Thank you all so much for joining us. That was a wild finale. Oh goodness, it was so much fun. As always, make sure hit that thumbs down button. Unsubscribe from this channel. Hit that bell an even number of times. We will see you next week. Take it easy, everybody. Bye-bye.